Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Right Now, a student ministry podcast here at Ridgecrest Baptist Church. And I'm excited today to be joined by Caleb Oney. Caleb, how you doing, man?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good as well. Now tell all of our listeners and viewers today how old you are, where you go to school, what grade, that kind of stuff.
I'm 13 years old. I go to school at Rehoboth Middle School, and I'm in the 8th grade.
8th grade at Rehoboth, 13 years old. Now, you're the oldest Oney brother at the Oney household. Now, you've already showed and shared with us that it's crazy at your house, but do you just dominate the household as an older brother?
Not really. You got Joel. Timothy just smacks Joel sometimes, so it's just crazy.
All right, so the domination comes between Joel or Timothy, right?
Basically.
If you were going to pick one right now to fight with, who would it be?
Probably Timothy, because he shows no mercy.
No mercy. So you would be his tag team, and Izzy would get Joel, that kind of thing, 2 for 2. Oh, that would be so much fun to watch one day, his tag team, Oney brother match up at your house. So, Caleb, thanks for being with us today on the podcast. And I always surprise our guests with one question before we jump into our 3 important questions. So do you like surprises?
Yes, I do.
All right. So do you like surprises as in you just like to be surprised, or do you like to be the one doing the surprising?
I think to do the surprise.
Okay, do the surprising. Well, I am surprising you today, so it's a little different. So here it is. All right. If you could do anything right now, okay, anything at all right now, money wasn't an issue, time wasn't an issue, place wasn't an issue, what would you do and why?
I'll probably hang out with my cousins. I haven't hung out with them around.
All right. Where do they live?
Well, one of my cousins live in Atlanta, and the other one lives in St. Louis. So.
All right. So if you could just drop whatever right now, you'd hang out with your cousins. What would y'all want to do, you think?
We'd probably go to Disney World.
Oh, okay.
We'll just hang out, too.
Just hang out. Well, it doesn't matter. Just be together.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, Caleb. Well, Caleb, today on the Right Now podcast, we say this every week, but it's just important. And the reason why we do it and call this podcast Right Now is that Ephesians chapter 5 tells us to be wise and to live a life worthy of the time that we're living in for the glory of God. And so we want to encourage you, we want to encourage myself, we want to encourage our listeners and our viewers to think about living in the moment for the glory of God. And so as we begin, though, today, Caleb, and think about that thought, the question that we always begin with our guests specifically as we get to more of our serious questions is this: what is God teaching you right now?
Probably I think he's teaching me to be patient and still and not worry about everything that's going around me.
All right, so share a little bit more when you say worry, all right? Are you somebody that worries a lot or kind of worries every now and then?
I mean, I think it's somewhere in the middle because I worry about school and I worry about this at the same time. And I'm like, I just need to focus on one thing.
Right.
And I just go everywhere and
okay.
My mind just scatters.
Yeah. So it sounds a little bit like you're like me, Caleb. My mind is all over the place. These guys around here make fun of that, but it's true. It's just like I'm constantly thinking about stuff over here, and can lead to worry. So Caleb, as you think about learning patience in that, share with me, what does it look like for you? Let's say you feel worried about school. How do you move from worry to try to be peaceful and God teach you that?
I just try to chill out and just pray and just ask God to help me so I won't worry about everything that's around me.
Yeah, so one of the things that's always been interesting to me is if I just stop for a second. I get so busy, my mind starts spinning, I'm so fast-paced that if I just stop for a second and realize the importance of who God is, realize who he is, and pray to him, I feel like just in that moment, the worry sometimes just gets less and less because God allows his peace to come in. So Caleb, is worry something you've always struggled with, like as all age, or did it come at a certain time?
I mean, I don't think I've ever felt worried, really, but I guess coming up now, I felt worried when I was 12, 13, now, but I think it just came up somewhere.
So it just came more recently.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel as if a lot of kids, students your age struggle with worry, like a lot of your friends? Is that something that you see or hear a lot about?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah. Well, we've had multiple different people on the podcast, and there's been some conversations about it, and I think it's easy in the teenage world to struggle sometimes with worry. But what I love about what you're sharing today is that it doesn't have to be that way. Now, it's reality. worry is real, anxiety is real, struggle and all that is real, but God gives us hope in that. And there is a better way to choose hope and to choose joy and the peace that comes from Jesus. We've been doing a study, and we've mentioned this last few weeks about Matthew 6, the 21 days of prayer and fasting, that talks about Matthew 6:34, not to worry about tomorrow because the day has enough worry in itself, and that whole thought of seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else be added to you. So Caleb, so cool to hear your heart and God teaching you patience, such a challenge for all of us to think about as we all live in a world really full of worry in a lot of ways, to fight against that. So second question, you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 2, you sure?
I'm sure.
All right. How can God use your generation right now to make an impact and to influence the world?
I guess so. We have my generation has a tendency to focus on like technology.
Yeah.
Technology is a big deal with my generation. So I guess we need to focus off of that and just keep our focus on God more.
Yeah.
Especially as Christians, we shouldn't focus on, because I know I can have a tendency to just be on a game and I could be doing different things to help God.
Yeah. So we live in a distraction-filled world.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those distractions in a lot of ways is technology. Now, you're all about some technology. I know, I've played games with you. You've recently started a YouTube channel. Shout out there. What's your YouTube channel name?
Coco Bros.
Coco Bros. All right. Showing some your games and different things with one of your friends, Samaj, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've played with you and Samaj before on Fortnite. So y'all are in technology, but I love your heart to say, okay, let's realize that this is not the most important thing. Let's be careful with the distractions. Let's be careful with being so focused in on this that we miss out on really the reason we're here. And that's to walk with the Lord, to know Jesus, to experience him, and to be obedient to what he's calling us to do. So speak to this for just a second, Caleb. When you think about fighting the distraction of technology, what are some things that help you to do that?
I guess like just going in my room, or just hanging out with family, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's basically it. Hanging out with family and just talking about things that like I'm going through, or just sitting down just to watch a movie.
Right.
Something like that.
So it's like turn off your personal device or whatever you're doing and find yourself with others, I'd say, specifically family. It might be something that you use technology some more. Like you might use technology for to watch a movie or something like that, but it's one of those things that you can take it off and turn it off personally, but not let it be something that all of you lose sight of. So focus in on what's most important. I love how you say, like, man, turn it off, get together with a family, or find friends. I know one of the things you mentioned already is hanging out with your cousins.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you can do, and God can use you there in that moment just as much as he wants to use you in other ways. And so I love that, Caleb, as we think about today, God using your generation. Get off technology, fight the distractions, and focus on what he's calling you to do. Last question.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to go 3 for 3 here. You've already gone 2 for 2 answering these questions here, Caleb. All right. Last question. What's a current event right now in our world going on that's of great interest to you?
Great interest. I guess, to be honest, not really politics, but like the way people are like. So people will be like, politics, this, that. You need to focus on God more than that. Like this is not just us.
Right.
God is what we need to be focused on. Like politics, yes, that's good to talk about in certain situations, but God is what we need to keep our main focus on.
Yeah, so it's fighting the reality of living in a world where political agendas are real, mm-hmm. and political conversations are being had, but not getting caught up in those in such a way that it's turning you away from the Lord. Was that what you'd say? Caleb, I think it's so easy, even for your age folks, because I hear folks on this podcast talk about what friends are saying at school, or what's being said through a game on a chat, or what's being said through a DM and seen through stories and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of it is political conversation, and it gets really ugly sometimes.
Mhm.
But again, it doesn't have to be that way. And we can see that, yes, Jesus is our hope. And right now we have an opportunity to, yes, navigate a political world, but understand that more than anything, we can look to him. So how would you say you kind of have conversations with your friends to make sure, and how would you encourage our listeners and viewers today to make sure that they don't get too caught up in the political conversation and they make sure they can remember that God is in control and has a plan?
I guess so. Things can get a little too far in conversations like that. So we need to, like, if let's say you're in a, like, let's say I'm in a party chat on a game or something,
Right.
and people talking about this and that about politics.
Yeah.
I could de-escalate the situation and say, hey guys, this is really not what we're supposed to be focusing on.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be focusing on the Lord, because
Yeah.
that's the only purpose we're on this earth for, to
Yeah.
focus on him
Yeah.
and to get people to him.
Yeah, that's the only purpose we're on the earth for. That's a great statement, Caleb, for all of us to grasp today. That's the only purpose we're on the earth for. Is to experience God and get people to him. And so that's a huge challenge. That's awesome to think about. And just proud of you for your heart in that, in the midst of, yes, an interesting climate of political world. And know that, yes, there's a great interest in that, but also there's a way to navigate that in a healthy way and not be so focused on it. So, Caleb, Oney.
Yes, sir.
Right now, episode 15. It's been fun.
Yes, sir. It has been.
You think Timothy or Joel get on the podcast one day with us?
They might.
I'm sure they would. We might want to see your tag team match too one day with you. And you said you and Joel?
Me and Timothy.
You and Timothy, the youngest. Timothy's he's got some fire as the youngest.
Sometimes he gets a broom and like tries to hit Joe with it. So I mean, like,
you never know what's gonna come.
Nope.
So tag team with Caleb and Timothy, and then Izzy and Joel. That would be fun to watch. But Caleb, thanks for being on the podcast today. So proud of you. So excited for what God's teaching you, how he's moving in your life right now. And I know that he has great plans for your life in the days ahead. And we look forward to all that God's going to do through you as you continue to seek him and focus your life on what he's calling you to do and making sure he's that priority and focusing compared to the other things of this world. And so again, thanks for being on the podcast today. And we want to say thank you to all of you for watching this podcast or listening to it. And we love for you to subscribe to our podcast channel. Give us a like and share, or leave us a review. Let us know what God's teaching you or different things that you would like for us to just have conversations about in the days ahead, but more so just give us encouragement for our students. And also we encourage you to live your life right now for the glory of God.